city, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall Yahweh go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand that day upon the Mount of Olives. Ain't that what we just read before? All right. Let there be under 2 or 3 witnesses, everything is verified. This is why sometimes we read the same thing and we'll go back and catch that from another aspect, which is before Jerusalem, so you'll know that it's true. If you read something one time, you know, people have a tendency, well, maybe. But when you can go and read that same thing in several different places, that sets that foundation really strong in your heart so that somebody can't talk you out of what's written in this book, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west, and there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And you shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yeah, you shall flee, like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Yehudah. And Yahweh, my Elohim, shall come, and all the saints with thee. So we know that Yahweh has a tendency to do things through these earthquakes. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to Yahweh, not day nor night. But it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. And Yahweh shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Yahweh, and his name one. We know that all those other things that we've ever heard are titles, not names. All the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up. Jerusalem shall be lifted up. All the other stuff is going to be a plain. So what is he doing? He's exalting Jerusalem. See, all the other things shall be abased. That means it has to become, the whole earth has to humble itself to Yahweh. And in humbling yourself to Yahweh, that means you have to humble yourself to Yahweh's people. That is what man don't want to do. Man does not want to have to humble himself to Yahweh's servants, because man know what he has done to Yahweh's servants. And everybody on this earth knows who we are except us. 10, lifted up and inhabited in her place from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananeel unto the king's wine presses. Verse 11, and men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. Now, this says the kingdom set upon earth. This is the subtitle of Zechariah 14, starting at verse 9. It's saying, and men shall dwell in it. Now, who all these people talking about they in heaven? It says this is where the men at right here. Verse 12. And this shall be the plague therewith. Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Now, this right here absolutely had to make zero sense, you know, but when you deal with it, this sounds like what? Well, you know, when you talk about, if you look at those things about those bombs that got that radiation in it, them nuclear weapons, right? This made no sense during that time. Now we know that man has the power to have these nuclear weapons. And in this thing, they've already had a nuclear reactor to go ahead and explode. Right. This thing has exploded, and this is some of the most horrific things that are going on. You see a river of water, and there's fire inside the water. Those are one of the things we're just not used to really seeing anything like that. The fire is just floating because of all of the other stuff that's in that water. So water ain't gonna put this fire out. So it's one of these things. This is what proves the Holy Bible. Yahweh gives these prophecies before these things, before you can even imagine how they can happen. He's talking about all of these things. verse 13. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from Yahweh shall be among them, and they shall lay hold everyone on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And Judah shall also fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. Now, Yahweh is going to make all the nations come up to fight at Jerusalem. But it says, and Judah shall also fight at Jerusalem. So what we find out here is true Israel, this so-called African American, is actually the bait for the trap. Yahweh is actually going to trick all the nations to come up and fight against Jerusalem, not knowing that they're fighting against Jerusalem. They think they're fighting at Jerusalem, but they're fighting against Jerusalem, because there's Israel the land and then there's Israel the people. See, so Yahweh done fooled all of them, because they, after this filthy lucre's sake, they're going to be fighting for the land to uphold it, not knowing they're fighting against Israel the people. This is the bait for the trap. Verse 15. And so shall the plague be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents, as this plague. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations. Ponder on that for a second. Consider this fight that we into. You ain't got time to party and play around. Consider this. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left. So it's going to be so much death and destruction that he got to deal with. He ain't going to even deal with how many people that's going to be killed. He said just how many that's left. You know what I'm saying? Everything that's left over of all of the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and keep the Feast of Tabernacles. We as Hebrew Israelites already keep that feast. But people will tell you the law was nailed to the cross. So why he gonna make people do this in a righteous kingdom then? This is the subtitle. As Zechariah 14 verse 9 says, the kingdom set up on earth. And then here in 16, he's saying that they will come up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So we saying all they males got to appear before Yahweh. So they got to go and make their appearance. Zechariah 14 and verse 17. During our intermission, the brother did have a comment and was saying how, you know, this kind of bust up this Hebrew Gentile thing. What we have to understand is that there are not, and I've heard people say these things about the 12 tribes of Judah. There's no such thing as 12 tribes of Judah. There are 12 tribes of Israel. Judah is only one tribe of Israel. So you have everybody claiming to be just Judah that's in the land. Well, then that means there are 11 openings for that lie that they've told. So now the Gentiles are claiming to be those other 11 tribes that were left open with the lie that everybody that's in the land now is a Jew. So they have consented, basically, if you don't tell nobody about my lie, I won't tell nobody about yours. Go ahead, brother.
The lie I was also referring to was also our own Hebrew Israelites, and that when they're saying Gentiles in here, they're talking about other Hebrew Israelites saying that, oh, we were calling northern Israel Gentiles because they were cut off.
Right, no.
Set up because of Israel, then they wouldn't have to come from other nations to constantly come back. They're part of the new covenant. They would be in Jerusalem.
Well, depending on what time it is, because we know those Gentiles going to be bringing, after all this go down, they're going to be bringing our sons back as an offering unto Yahweh. See? So when they come down, they're going to be bringing our people with them. The ones that didn't get there at that particular, because everybody not going to be there. All right? They're going to have to bring our sons for an offering. That's why it says all that wealth and all of those things are going to be gathered and given to Israel. Because that's why we don't need no reparations. This book got our reparations in it. I don't want no reparations. These would be, man, what kind of reparations could America give me? I want the reparations that come from Yahweh. Yahweh says, I will punish you 7 times more for your sins. But when he restores you, he'll restore you sevenfold too. No. I want Yahweh's. You go ahead and keep that. Thank you, but no thank you. Now, I want what he's got written down in this book, what he has promised in these covenants. I don't want what man can give me. You can keep that little dirty dollar. That ain't worth nothing. I don't want that. No, I want some real, he says the silver and the gold. I want some gold. I want real money. That's real money. You can go anywhere and spend gold. You pull out a dollar, they say, brother, I don't know if I want to take that. You pull out gold, boy, you better pick out what you want in there. You want to get, boy, give him 2 of those. Right. That gold can spend anywhere. I want what Yahweh gonna give us. I don't want what man gonna give me. Because I know that man can give you $1 million and then deflate the money, and you come to figure out he only gave you, right. Now you find out he gave you $500,000. Wait a minute. But I got $1 million here. Yeah, but he messed up the value of the dollar the day after he gave it to you. Now that, my brother, is a hustle. That you give a man $1 million, you promise him, I'm gonna give you $1 million. But then he turn around and deflate the value of the currency to where you only really, now it takes $2 to buy what it used to take $1. Now he is ripped by that. Now that's a hustle right there. That is definitely a hustle. Zechariah 14 and verse 17. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. So he's gonna first, now they've said this law was nailed to the cross and they didn't have to do it. Now they're saying that Messiah that everybody claimed they love so much, now they got to come up to Jerusalem and worship him and keep the very holy days that they said was nailed to the cross. That's why it's going to say we have our Father have given us lies. We have inherited lies. Right. Verse 18. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So Yahweh going to first hit them with no rain. Then after that, he going to start hitting them with the plagues. You are going to keep Yahweh's law when Yeshua get on this earth this second time. Remember, they was asking the apostles, the disciples, they said, why don't your, they asked Yeshua, they said, why don't your disciples fast? He said the children of the bridegroom can't fast while the bridegroom is with them. When I leave, then they'll fast. They said, John's disciples fast often, but your disciples don't fast. Man, they can't fast while I'm here. I'm the light of the world, brother. I'm the light of the world. I am the door. They can't fast while I'm here. So, here, when he come back this time, they're going to have to do what they have to, what they're supposed to do. Verse 19, this shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. This is busting up all those lies about everything is nailed to the cross. Verse 20, in the day that there shall be upon the bales of the horses, holiness unto Yahweh. And the pots in Yahweh's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto Yahweh of hosts, and all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them and see therein. And in that day there shall be no more Canaanite in the house of Yahweh. Now, when the Most High uttered his voice from the heavens to speak with the children of Israel, some said it thundered. When the Most High spake to the Messiah Yeshua, some said it thundered. Others said a voice spake to him. Yahweh has the power over what we call the weather. The same power, though, has also been displayed by his angels and Satan as well.